Hello, everyone. My name is Wojtek Hazanovic, and I'm the representative of the JM International. I will tell something more later about all those JMs, enCOREs, Accelerandos, and whatever. However, for the first thing first. I'm so grateful that we all can be here in Budapest. Thank you, Back to Future, for enabling us to be a part of this great event. Thank you, David, a fabulous team, for taking care of it and making it possible and happening. So I will tell you something about JMI, which is the biggest, the largest music NGO in the world. We are present in over 61 countries and reaching over 6 million individuals with music all over the world. But we are here for this very special occasion. This is called enCORE New Ways in Classical Music. It's very much connected to Back to the Future. And it's also about startups, music startups. We called it Accelerando, so to get faster a bit. So without further ado, I would like, now we're about to present nine projects that they are like the emerging ideas. The people with the classical music background decided to take over, decided to do something with their lives and careers and to create own projects. So we created some sort of environment for them to start and to grow. So, first project comes all over from Chile, Matias Santibañez. Buenos días, Matias.
Buenos días. Thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation, Wojtek. I don't know if everyone here is a musician. Maybe some of you already know this, but when you are a musician, it happens that it's really difficult not to be related to any other arts or form of arts. And in my case, it was painting. I really love painting. Painting for me is something really gorgeous. It's something really beautiful, amazing. But the truth is that I'm a really bad painter. So, a really, really bad one. Terrible. So I have no choice but to be a musician. But because this connection between music and painting, some funny ideas come to my mind from time to time, and today, right now, I want to share with you one of those questions. As you may ever guess, is that: have you ever wondered what kind of sound may create a drawing? Okay. Nowadays, despite the great technological advances in music and art in general, we'll still hear music in the same way. And very often, every time we go to a concert or to a performance, we see ourselves as a very passive spectator who is only listening and watching, without direct connection between the musical work itself and no direct connection between music and, in this case, visuals. It means our senses. But trying to respond to those questions, I have developed this that I call visualism. What is visualism? Is that an interactive audiovisual installation, a new way to experience the music, and a few other things more, but I don't want to go more deeper in this because I think with this project the best experience is just to see the project running, so you can make your own conclusions later. This is how it looks. The interface is kind of maybe Windows 95. lovely interface, very vintage, but still lovely. One of the aspects that I try to cover in this project is treating the audience not as someone who is just merely listening and watching, but someone to engage and interact with the musical world itself just by the simple action of drawing something, thus making a direct connection between music and visuals. This is how it works. It's a little scheme. It's in Spanish, of course, but I can translate a little bit. First, we have the interaction. The interaction passed to a generative process, and in this generative process, we have some kind of model of synthesize. Really boring stuff, but then we have a complement of those models of synthesize. Were made for spatialization and reverberations. Once everything is done, it's over for a speaker, like a mix. Well, the truth behind this project is because through all my years of studying and participating in different projects involving music and especially those involving audiovisuals, I have noticed how little this topic in music has been explored. And so I have been able to improve the interactivity with the spectator in order not to lose the possibility that technology offers to us and transform the way in how we relate to music and art in general through technology. I think is enough of words. Maybe one of you want to see how these things work. So let's see it. This is me drawing a masterpiece, I guess. Look at that. Amazing. And here comes the magic, the music responding to a song, a painting. Well, one of the aspects that I also try to cover in this project is make the audience part of the creation of something. In this case, something related to music and drawing. So that QR code you can scan, you can download, and eventually the piece is yours because it's your interaction, and you can take that sound back to you, or your home, or wherever. Thank you.
Matías Santibáñez, Chile, de Chile. Muchas gracias, Matías. So this was our first participant to present here today, and in the meantime, I will tell you something more about the details on the project. So, JMI is the largest NGO organization in the world. when you're ready, you can come in on the stage. I'm just talking when. Yeah. So it's like you're the superstars. I'm just like the glue guy. It's called in the basketball. I've heard some basketball today and the football as well. I'm a Real Madrid fan, by the way. Very much. Okay, so without further ado, I will tell more maybe later about JMI. But please, you can always in every country there is a JMI activity. So you can look further about all the opportunities we give to young musicians, and you can join us anytime. So all over from Bosnia, it's Lamia Saric and Nejla Žunić.
Thank you. Imagine walking down the street and suddenly you hear the sound of Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, the more than famous Ode to Joy melody. If you're anything like me, you're gonna be super curious about it and you're just gonna go closer to find the source of the sound. So then I came here. And then instead of my lovely Nejla, I saw a little boy playing the guitar, and he was playing the melody on his guitar. And then another boy, and two girls, and two more girls, and two more boys. I was suddenly realizing I wasn't imagining. I was seeing the Memoria Orchestra in Tuzla. This is our project. We are doing something that hasn't ever been done in the history of our country. We are collaborating with music schools that are teaching classical music and are making a space possible for the children of all ages. So every grade of one department you can see here on the picture, on the video, actually. And we are creating a brand new world of classical music. Let us tell you more about it.
My name is Nejla, and this is Lamia, as Wojtek already introduced us. And I have always been very attached to music. I cannot imagine my life without being connected to music. And that is through elementary school, through high school, and especially now when I'm studying currently at the Academy of Music in Sarajevo, in Bosnia. And it's a really great opportunity to be here today to talk to you about our project. The name of our project is Music by Heart. Well, what's the emphasis in the name of our project? Is it music by heart, music by hear, music by ear, music by art? You can make all the different arrangements of the name, but I think it's all of the above, because music comes into the ears, then flows out of the heart, and when you combine all of those things, you get to the core of it, you get to the art.
Yeah, and hello everybody, my name is Lamia, and with Nejla together, we represent this yin and yang. You can say that I have nothing to do with music. You can say that I have everything to do with music, because I'm a neuroscientist and I wonder all my life, where does music come from? Is it something that we have in us? Is it followed generation to generation? Or is it just floating around us? Because we all have a heartbeat. We're all rhythm machines. So music is for everyone and music is free. And our mission is just like this miner from our hometown that made a revolution in the industrial times. We are making a revolution through music. Our mission is to empower and inspire young people to do classical music, to never stop, because I had to stop classical music training, and I don't want other generations, newer generations, to ever stop and to have really great skills in it. We will tell you more about it.
The essence of people since ancient times and today is social connection. And we want to connect those children, to make new friendships, to work together, to experience music together.
And you can see here some images of our orchestra. So all of these children are ages from 14 to 16. Oh, sorry, from 7 to 16. And basically, basically what this orchestra is not just empowering is classical music, but also lifelong friendships, lifelong, as we have learned in the few days, lifelong super fans that will support you for your whole life, that will always be there for you.
Yes, because it's important for those children to gather together and to spend some times without being in competitions and without that stressful energy.
As I already said, I love science, and I'm a big geek. I love scientific evidence, and I'm gonna present you why we are doing this. So research suggests that if you do music, your creativity, cognitive, mathematical, and logical functions are completely going over the roof. So I really wanted to see what makes our brain tick even more, and I discovered it. So, you have all listened to music. Listening to music is a great activity for your brain. But what is even better, I guess most of us do it, it's playing music. But imagine, for your body, eating a salad and then going for a run. And that is what our project is creating. So, if you're actively listening to the music and then reproducing it on your instrument, thinking about it, hearing it, and then playing it, this creates brand new neural networks in your brain that will connect your creativity and logical side, and this will boost your brain to the max. And this is great for kids because kids are like sponges, they take everything in.
Yes. So should we just pause and listen? Because our goal is to make children listen to each other, to make them play music together, to get them together and to have them realize the specialty that music offers. And I would like to add that children in orchestra are like puzzle pieces, and they bring together a bigger community, and they bring a better meaning in all of the music.
And we are making it super interesting for also the older kids, because now they are not afraid to use their own skill set that they have learned in classical music training, and we encourage them to use all of these essential skills like even communication, teamwork, and arranging, learning harmonies, and everything that you kind of don't learn in primary school. And these kids, these new generations, I see, they are not afraid.
They are not afraid to play freely, they are not afraid to be themselves, and that is the most important thing. And for the end, we want to say that kids...
We want to say that non-formal and formal education has really changed our life. Really, you have us two, the yin and yang, who are completely different. One from a scientific and non-formal musical scene, and one from a professional and academic musical scene. And
we want to give them the same and even better opportunities than we had.
Yes, to make them feel free, skilled, really skilled, and inspired to do work together, because they're so cute. Look at them. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lamia. Thank you, Neila. So, enCORE was programmed exactly to face the future, to challenge the music profession in the future. So we built this program around three main topics. First one is experience innovation. So how can we make new experience with the music, with the classical music? Second part was skill development. So how can we make a modern vocational training for young classical musicians to equip them with the qualities and skills they need in their future lives and careers? And third one is a social engagement. So how can you use your music to make a change, to raise a voice, to be an advocate of the future. Here it is, ready, Wanda Weinberger from here, so the home stadium, Hungary. Wanda, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. First, I would like to start with a question. What's the first thing that comes into your mind when you think about the flute? Any kind of flutes. You can see there's so many. Is it just a picture, like you see it? Or is it a sound that you once heard and it's stuck in your head? Now, I want you to think it from another direction. To think of them not as instruments, like as identities and personalities. For me, for example, when I think about the bass flute, this huge flute, I don't think about it as an object or a tool. I think about it as some individual. For me, this instrument is like an old grandpa who is really tired for all these years, and he doesn't run up and down the stairs because that's tiring, and he also doesn't fidgeting and move fast because his joints are not working well. But he's a great storyteller, and he has really great stories that he share with the grandchildren. So my point is that if you think about an instrument from another way, it's so much easier to connect with it. And when you hear it in a piece, then you get really excited and what's gonna be his next move? What's gonna happen? What's gonna he say? So welcome everyone. I'm Wanda, and I'm from here, Hungary, and I'm a middle school student. My project called Faces of the Flute. I started this project, it's a startup project, I started it about half a year ago. And my main goal is to reach out for people who are not really comfortable in classical music or don't know much about classical music. I want to reach out for them and invite them to a concert where they can get to know these amazing instruments better, and also they can learn about classical music as well and see how colorful it is and interesting. This concert has three main area. First of all, I show all of the instruments, I play on them, and it's really rare to hear them in one concert. I show them in solo so you can hear in the individual voice of it, and I also play in chamber with my accompanists and my other flutist friends. My other goal is so when people are in the audience see the repertoire, what we are playing, sometimes it's strange to them. They don't understand what Telemann's flute sonate, what can I do with this, what's it all about. So in this concert I also talk about the music, the piece that we are playing, a little background infos, and also about the composer, the main motives that are really powerful in this piece and they worth listening to it. And the third point that I do is bring in other creative elements, like the Irish whistle. You can see on the board, it's the black one, the small one. It's a really interesting instrument. It has some Baroque roots, but it's so simple to play on it and so easy to adopt. That's why I introduce it to the audience, because they can learn about classical music from a little easier and more understandable way for the first time. Yes, so this is what's my project about. And I had my first concert about 2 months ago, and it was a huge success. I felt that, because so many people were coming, and they were not into classical music. They were totally strangers to it. They were just interesting. They found it interesting. And after the concert, they came to me, and they said, "Oh, Wanda, when's the next concert gonna be? So I want to know more about these instruments and more about music in this way." And the other thing that made me really happy, that after the concert, children from elementary school who were there, they started to apply to music school and start their study in the music field because they got inspired. And I think that's my main goal, is to inspire other people through classical music and introduce them into this wonderful world without any boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Wanda. Thank you very much. We thought, while programming enCORE, it's a series of different events. As I told you before, one of the events are built around social engagement, one is built around concert innovation. The one built around skill development is also built to support the management skills, to support the entrepreneurship skills the young musician can have. So we thought that this format, like giving micro grants to the breast projects, is something we really need. And after those 2 days, I'm really convinced that we did a great job. So thank you, JMI. Thank you, Classical Committee. My friends are here. Thank you very much. So maybe because you don't know, the 3 of those projects will be granted as seed money from the JMI network in order to grow and in order to happen. So this is this sort of startup salon idea. Okay, now it's Christine Botros. You're from Sweden, I guess. But
right.
From Latvia and Sweden, she says. But maybe. Christine, stage is yours.
Thank you. A timer here for me too. When the pandemic hit the world, the music industry fell flat on its face. The theaters, venues, and concerts were all closed and shut down. All performing artists were suffering and in pain and in fear for their future. On the other hand, music producers, sound engineers, and sound designers were thriving and getting more job opportunities than ever, because everybody wanted a podcast, everybody wanted to produce the song they never had the chance to, everybody wanted to record and do something so that they could put it up on a digital platform, because that was the only way. I am a music producer from Stockholm, Sweden, is my field of studies on an academical level, and I was on the winning team. At the same time, I couldn't help but be very deeply moved by the pain and the fear that I saw in my colleagues that were suffering and afraid for their future. You probably think, why do I care this much, right? Because I entered the music world through classical piano. It's 11 years of my life. So I understand this world. And I ended up in music production, and I know that I have something to bring to the table to help gather resources and distribute them better so that classical musicians and performing artists can take part in the job opportunities that we were getting. Yeah, I think it's the right one. So what I thought I could do is write a song, produce a song is what I do. That's what I do best. And I wrote a song in a very simple pop form, but I thought I was going to arrange it with classical elements like string quartet, piano, big arrangements, more complicated harmonies. So I did that, and I reached out to a colleague in Latvia, which is a prominent pianist, very known on an international level, who was very excited to take part in it. And I invited him as a co-producer, co-arranger, and co-artist. He's not just playing for me, he is making the song with me. And I would like to play a short example of a demo of the music that we made together. Sorry for cutting it, but I'm short on time here. A really good question, because one is making music, right? That's good. But how is this beneficial to classical musicians? So how are we going to actually do this, benefit from it, make it in a sort of a business? And that is a very good question, and this is exactly what we're going to do. We are going to produce high-quality music. And when I say high quality, I mean high quality in every single aspect. The arrangement, the technical performance, the production, the recordings, everything is going to be high level because we bring two worlds together into one. This, in return, creates more opportunities for classical music to find a new crowd. It also is enriching the instrumentation and harmonic content of pop music. It is a very Atmos potential music. How many of you are familiar with Atmos? If you've been to a movie theater, you have been in an immersive audio experience, which means that the sound is around you, it's beneath you, it comes from the so-called the voice of God, the speakers up in the ceiling. So this music can be composed and designed from the very beginning for that. And why I think this is the golden key for us to be successful is because this is the entry to the virtual reality and metaverse, because in order to be there, you have to have an Atmos mix. And we can do that. This gives us unique and flexible performances. We can do so much more in all over the world, in many places at the same time. This is so scalable for so many artists and projects. Who is our target audience? It's basically people. Europe is beautiful because the electronic and classical music coexist in the same music scene. People are trained classically and they grow up listening to pop music and they do some kind of hybrid or listen to a hybrid. And this is a fast and new growing music market that is sometimes called this or this or this or even this. I'm serious. People call it like that. It doesn't really matter what you call it. What matters is that we can together build this new subgenre fusion of these two unique music scenes. I love this quote. It says, "Plant your seed in the morning and keep busy all afternoon, for you don't know if profit will come from one activity or the other, or maybe both." I think it's time for classical music to be more diverse and invest their seeds in different ways of monetizing, making money, and future-proofing so that this would never happen to us again. It's been an honor for me to present my very passionate idea to you. Thank you very much for listening.
Christine Botros from Sweden, thank you very much.
You could say a Latvian from Sweden.
A Latvian from Sweden, that's what she asked me to say to you. Yeah, this is like the music with no borders. one of the enCORE events was called exactly this: music with no borders. This is how you say it. It's not only music that crossing the political borders, it's also the music that crossing the genre borders. We love that very much, and we love to, because we're classical music world, we are extremely skilled, extremely powerful. Still, we can learn a lot from the other genres for our own good. So here's another speaker from, it's hard because she was in Berlin, in Slovenia, sometimes from there. Now it's from it's from
Montenegro.
Montenegro, yes. I'm so sorry because it's pretty harsh with you. Maria Mitrovic.
Thank you. I actually found myself in this beginning of Christine talk because she was talking about classical, sad story about classical musicians, and I'm this sad pianist who actually wanted to change the world but never succeed until now. I mean, after 15 years, I think, of waiting, I finally talk about my ideas loudly. So my story started in elementary school, and I was practicing a lot classical piano, but I was always wanted to touch piano inside, to go under piano, to listen piano in different way. But my professor were always like, sit, write, behave yourself, and I was always like had this limitation. And then I came to high music school again. I played piano, I practiced a lot, and there I said, okay, I want to change the world. How I will do that? And then my colleagues were always laughing and said, like, Maria, like, just play, practice, okay. And then I came to academy, and finally the world was mine, became mine. And I was thinking, okay, now it's time. And then I'm now here, and I'm now thinking, okay, where am I now? Like, what is, where are we now? Like I see this like socio-technological noise room, and I see audience of orchestra, like by orchestra playing, audience is checking phones. And then I was thinking, okay, is it music really became boring, or what is about? And then I was thinking about, because I'm beside pianist, I'm very, very detailed researcher, and I was thinking, okay, postmodernism, all these isms, then with suffix like neos, post. Well, now it's media, multimedia, intermedia, transmedia, and we have all this together. And this is like how, this is really interesting, because it's how now like musical composition, this can call musical composition too. So I really adore this. I'm amazed by this, because contemporary classical is my field of study. And then, I came up with idea of finding the community to find a way to express my ideas, and that is based on experiments and on experience. So my first inspiration came from Black Mountain College. I mean, you know, from John Cage. He was one of the founders of this school, and it is called college, but it is about it has no grade, it had no fees. You are there to create, to actually, together with teacher, to grow up. And this is, I'm pedagogue, I'm pianist, and this is what is my field. And then I decided to actually create Nigrum Montem, that means Black Mountain, what means, that comes from Montenegro. Montenegro is Black Mountain, so it's my country where I'm born. And then after 5 years, I mean, even Wojtek said, I was there. I was half Slovenia, half Montenegrin. I was really traveling a lot and work on myself. And then after these isms, I came to Montenegro. Montenegro is a very small country. Probably some of you doesn't know this, like where is exact on map, because that's why I present myself in different way. But it is very small. But the problem is not that it's small, but there is no cultural scene. I came back. It's not like joke. It's not that exaggerating, sorry. But it's really small, and they just have like 2 centers of music. One is for orchestra and classical pieces. It's okay, but you know, orchestra workers. They are not players. They are workers. And on the other stuff is Kids Bude Tomovic. There is no criteria. You have like folk, bad quality music, and next day is like Mahler Quintet, and you have really, this is totally crazy for me. But then I thought, okay, there is nothing here, then I can start from zero, and let's see where we will come. So I decided, I talked with my friends a lot, they are musicians, And they told me, like, Maria, imagine this is like Kunst part where you can play everywhere music. And they told me their dreams, and I have a dream too. And then I understood, okay, don't go locally, don't change the world, change the people around you. And then, yeah, since I found myself in performance, education, and new media, you can read this because I have no so much time. This is like how it looks. I'm based on performance, spreading like including audience into my performance. In education, I actually enable more freedom than my professor gave to me, to my children, not my children, my pupils. And then we have new media, where I really try to connect human and technology, because I thought about these phones that are with us, how I can actually make this in juxtaposition. So, yeah, these are my question for myself. What is actually called classical? What are needs of new audience? What is new audience? What they need today? Like, or what is the scene? Or is it John Cage, a classical composer now? Or, you know, and where we'll be in historic music of history, like of children of our children. So these are all questions I wake up every day with this. So why Nigromontem is relevant? This is because, I mean, art and society cannot go independently. They go together. So if society, if we talk about COVID, about distance, about wars, then okay, where is music in all this? Which moment we are at? So instead of, because I don't have time now to talk about this, I will even show you an example. This is one example that I did, like Homocordia de Sapiens, where I included people into installation, to use installations. And some of them, like 40%, were excited, some were afraid, and it was really nice experience for me, how they are brave and how to include public and that they feel like part of creators too. So this is how it was looking. I came in music institution and put yoga mattress. Then people were using installations, even older, even younger, and it was really like in institution happened really beautiful world. This you will see in the end in the video. Then this piece was about public space, going outside of institution and actually bringing my community, not ensemble, but community, and presenting new pieces of Montenegrin composers to everyone, not just like target group or academics. And yeah, how it looked in factory. And then finally, Utopia. This is for my children. I will say my children. And yeah, they tried. They have concert of their pieces, and they did everything that I couldn't. So they use synth, they use like synthesizers, they use piano. They actually express themselves totally freely. And I said, like, yeah, this is why music. This is what is music about. So, because I really don't have time, I see this is how it was looking, but I will just show you, come to the end. This is like takeaway notes, as you can read. So my focusing on like really freedom as its essence of music. And now finally you can just watch this video, and this is how I will end my talk.
I'm just looking for a bed or something.
Here, I don't know what. Maybe I'm more free.
I don't think people are bad people. I think they just need to reconnect with what they are doing.
There are 5 installations, and you have 45 minutes. To use the installations, you must interact with another stranger. Enjoy the stay.
process.
The process of you being you. I am sitting in a room, different from the one you're in now. I'm recording the essence of my idea over and over again until it becomes the natural resonant frequency of the room, articulated by my spirit.
Yeah, oh, thank you.
Maria Mitrovic, I would say from Europe, it would be easier. So one of the principles of new ways in classical music is like how to turn this brown, white, black colors that Rob Overman before mentioned, and what we actually see when we look at the classical music, how to change this. And while the whole world is shifting into an experience, this is like maybe still a business keyword for everything. This is how we want to support all the initiatives that make classical music more experienceable. You know what I mean? So this is at least to think that way. If we can do something to make it more, to make this experience more touching, more vivid. Now, from Macedonia, Angel Spiroski.
Thank you, Wojtek. And thanks to our dynamic duo from Bosnia. They started with Beethoven, and this is actually where the idea behind our project started. It was early this year on a concert. There was Beethoven 5th Symphony this time, and especially this part, the connection of the 3rd and the 4th movement. When there is this fog, and out of the sudden you enter into the 4th movement and everything starts shining. And I felt something different. I have felt it before. I'm very happy that I know that until I breathe, I will feel it afterwards. And it was this, what seemed a never-ending, pulsating waves of beautiful energy and goosebumps. But there was a problem, and I'll get to that. But this provoked one very interesting idea for a project with JM Macedonia, whom I speak on behalf of JM Macedonia, and it was a great chance to represent it on enCORE today. The problem is connected to what I'll show you following the chart made by the audience agency of UK in 2017, and it's analysis of the average age of audiences for classical music. And it is this. When you see it like this, it's always shocking, like only 7% of the young generations go and attend classical music events. But I think, for example, if you take then the older generation and make an analysis of how much they go to, let's say, trance gigs, you will get probably the same, probably the same percentage. But the thing is that most likely the older generation at some point in their life have met with classical music, but if we do not intervene in this situation, I think that we might face with a slow extinction of the event of classical music. And now to get back, so I was feeling very, very beautiful about this concert. It was extraordinary, and then I turned myself and I saw 3 problems. First, the hall was half empty. Second, it was this analysis, very few young people. And third, almost all of the young people, they did not give the chance the music to do what it did to me or their equivalent of the emotional impact, but they were filming Instagram story. And I asked myself, how can I help this when I need to make it fun? And what fun is, I think it's interaction. So this is behind the idea, and I will shortly tell you about the project, which I sadly did not tell you what the name is. It's .com.musicate, which is an idea of actually a concept of a concert, interactive concert, which applies web application. And in order to most easily, at least I think so, most easily describe what the process is, I have invented the chain of involvement in this project. So it starts with a composer, which needs to be commissioned composer in order to create a very specific type of composition who, together with a psychologist, they create a base of questions who will be given to the audience, which will then have the chance to intervene in the future of that musical event at the point where they are asked, by the means of web application, which is going to collect the information of the audience, calculate them, and send them to the performers, and hopefully we got everyone involved. It was a beautiful week here in Budapest, and on this journey it's beautiful that I don't feel alone, and I've seen many people around that care about the future of music, the future of the performers, the future of the audience, the future of the young generations and their education. And I feel encouraged that if now we act, tomorrow we will have a very good and sustainable future for all the music professionals and practitioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Angel. So the next speech. Oh yeah, maybe I'll speak something more about enCORE. No. So the third pillar of enCORE is social engagement. You know, like all those artists that Ricardo mentioned before, and we know from the internet, many of them raise the voice. You know what is the voice raising? Then you use your art, your skills for a certain reason, not for the good of music. You know what I'm saying? It's for other stuff, like fight for rights, fight for religion, fight against religion, fight whatever ideals you have. So, and the classical music is not very much into it. So this is another thing. So it's on the top level, and on the bottom level is how can you use your project, use your qualities you have, your abilities, to make a better world by yourself, as a classical musician. As you probably feel, this is my favorite part in this. And JMI, as a global institution, is very much about it. So as I mentioned before, 6 million people witnessing this enormous power of music, a music that can change lives. We've been once to Brazil, and we've been witnessing the music conference with the group of young offenders, Brazilian young offenders coming and jamming in a hall like this. So this is, and it was incredible. Everyone cried. That's easy part here, you know. This was so powerful. How the music transformed young offenders into, how the music get back those young people to the society. So this is what I'm talking about. And I believe the classical music can also do it. So now the next speakers, the team from USA, but I guess now based in France, Justin Bartlett and Serena Huang. Welcome.
Thank you.
We graduated from university in the midst of the pandemic, set out into the world with nothing but performance degrees. It's very understandable that we and so many people that we went to school with felt lost, hopeless, unsure of where to go and what everything had prepared us for.
It was a really frustrating time, and I think all of our peers and colleagues here today have expressed that feeling. We were frustrated with our school for not teaching us what to do outside of the practice room as soon as we walked out of those doors. We were frustrated with the world for not taking care of artists and not providing us with opportunities to succeed in the field that we're so passionate about. And we were really frustrated with ourselves for having chosen what seemed like a very useless major in that moment. So we started to complain, and we complained into voice memos on our phone, and we published those complaints as the Creative Baggage podcast. And what we noticed after our first few episodes was that people that we went to school with started to reach out to us and say, hey, you know, we've been feeling this too. Like, we spent all our time in school telling each other, oh, I practice 6 hours, I practice 7 hours. But really, there were so many days where we just were sitting there depressed, pretending to practice and looking out the window to see if everybody else was practicing too. And so we interviewed them. We interviewed our peers, and then we interviewed our professors, who in our eyes we really looked up to and were highly successful in our field, and they told us the same, and that it was a long and winding career to get where they are. And we even reached out to people that we didn't know, that we had only seen on stage or in a poster, and we just sent them an email like, hey, you know, we have this podcast, we'd love to interview you. And we were so surprised when everybody said, yeah, I would love to talk to you. I would love to have a candid conversation for an hour on your podcast. And that's where Creative Baggage began, and we've built a really strong community of people like us who may be feeling a little bit lost, but really, really care about music and want to know what to do next. So we wanted to give back. We gave back first through a set of resources on our website for scholarships and grants. These are ongoing resources, so they don't expire. There's monthly cycles. We have practice and performance resources. And lastly, we have arts activism resources to engage people in what could be in music. Because after we voiced all of our complaints and we ran out, we felt a lot better and we had a lot of ideas. Then we decided to help give opportunities that were not constant, opportunities that expire, that there's a deadline, that you could participate in and learn a lot of skills and then take those skills with you to the next thing that you do, or maybe you find more opportunities just by doing one thing. Working on this podcast has taught us so many skills that we did not learn in music school. We make graphics, we edit, we publish episodes, we have to manage our team, we have to schedule with guests, and that's why we're here. So, Opportunities for Creatives, or as we recently renamed, For the Lost Creative, because it kind of is a gift to our listeners and everybody that is in the same boat as us, is a database of ongoing opportunities. We're from the States, so a lot of these opportunities are currently located in the States, but this is our pilot version and just used as an example and a way for our small community right now to make use of it. So the problem that it addresses first and foremost is that we don't learn in music school what options are out there. We learn how to get good at our instruments, we learn to take auditions, we learn to teach. But there are so many other things you can do in classical music, and having these opportunities laid out in front of you allows you to say, hey, you know, I'm also interested in marketing. Maybe I could try for this part-time position, full-time position. Maybe I can take an internship at a radio station. And it's a way for you to pick out things that you could do that you didn't know about. Another thing, because we're Americans, that we're really frustrated about having not learned in music school is the fact that we paid a lot of money to go to university and get our degrees. And it's really, there's a barrier of entry to explore opportunities if they cost money and if they cost time and energy. So our database is simplified, curated, so that none of these opportunities have tuition fees, none of these opportunities have application fees, so you really have the freedom to try anything that catches your eye. And it's also filtered. So if you just go on Google and you search opportunities, I've read so many listicles of things that, you know, have a bunch of things that were due in 2014 and I can't really apply anymore. Or I'll read 6 pages of a grant application and realize at the end that they were closed permanently for COVID and we don't know when they're restarting the grant again. So you can really filter out it actually automatically filters out expired listings. So you see the most recent, or the one that's next is May 15th, and after May 15th, you won't see it anymore. You can also filter by keywords. So if you're looking for a summer internship, you can filter for summer internships. If you are looking for a full-time job and you don't want to see those unpaid internships because you need money and you don't want to apply for something that doesn't pay you, then you can filter those out too. And you just read a quick summary of the person that they're looking for, see if you fit the description, see if you can get what you want out of it, and you click on the link and then you can apply. But we really want to save people the time and energy of going through the depressive work of looking and being frustrated and not feeling like they see anything that sticks to them, and give people the opportunity to focus all of their creative energies on their passions and the things that they want to try and that they want to explore.
I think that what became so clear, us being from America, Serena moved to France, and what made it really obvious to us how important this is how universal this problem is to everyone. In America, this is all of our friends, professors, everyone struggles with this, and nothing's really different from our experiences in Europe either. And so we hope to build a community of artists that can come around a resources page like this, where we can all kind of build each other up and comment on different opportunities and like what people's experiences were with an opportunity that maybe is reoccurring, and hopefully build something so that there's a community for people to go to and not feel so alone in what is such a common problem.
Yes, we're going to expand, put this on our website, and then if you guys are looking for collaborators for your project, you can fill out a form and put it on our database, and we're gonna grow the community so that everyone can help each other rather than compete with each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Serena. Thank you, Justin. Now, it reminded me that JMI was built on the classical music. So the first ever project that's been done was the World Orchestra. After the Second World War, as a message of peace, because you know, during the war, we know it now, the young people fight and die. So after the Second World War, the nations decided to form an orchestra as a message of peace. So the Jeunesse Musicale World Orchestra was the symbol and the first youth orchestra, international youth orchestra. Now you know this very much, very well, how it works throughout the European world. But our organization 10 years ago was forced to close this project. So we needed to find a new ways. We alone was the greatest example of the struggle of the classical music world to be sustainable and maintain momentum. So we were asked to do a new project for classical musicians. So this is how New Ways in Classical Music were born, and this is why we're here. And starting a new chapter in Genus Musica. It's now called JM, to be more fancy in 21st century. So the JM. Okay, but now from Croatia, it's Ivan Šimatović and Marijan Dalabiondić, please.
Thank you. So, hi everyone, my name is Ivan.
And my name is Maria.
And today we will talk a little bit about our musical story, Euterpa.
An artistic organization, Euterpa, was founded in 2021. We are providing a new perspective in music and bringing it to listeners. It consists of 3 members, graduate musicians and pedagogues, who are trying to make a world a better place.
So far, we have launched 4 projects, and those are Euterpa's Listening Room, which is a show in form of podcast that wants to bring artists closer to audience by exploring life behind the scenes and what shaped them into musicians as they are today. Also, Euterpa's concert series, that is our main project because it is consisted only of music, and the main goal here is that inside the project we organize concerts with various themes. Our first concert was organized last week under the name Euterpa's Awakening, as it was our first direct contact with the audience.
We promote and organize concerts for our young artists. All of those projects are intended to educate a general population, but what about the youngest ones?
In 2020, we faced COVID-19. Everyone was shocked and the world fell silent. All of a sudden, culture was smashed to the bottom of life priorities. But not only that there were no more concerts, but teaching in schools was replaced by harder and more difficult online education, thus making it more difficult for students and often negatively reflecting their motivation. But the real cause lies in old-fashioned way of teaching, and in combination with music that is inadmissible. Also, surely that constant expenditure of scope of curriculum and instant gratification developed through digital network and digital environment did not help in that cause.
What if we take advantage of that digital environment and create something new? Who is Playing There is a series of workshops where children can learn about music, musical instruments, and musical professions through games and quizzes. We collaborate with teachers and educational institutions. In this video, you will see a few moments of our workshops.
Dobro, Žana Marija Matanović, upali si mikrofon, molim te.
7:12.
Ajmo dalje. Drugi dobrovoljac, klasicizam, šta bi sve povezali?
Evo, hobotnice su se javile. Izvolite, hobotnice.
Mozart!
Bravo! Bravo, Mozart.
Girl, you just don't realize what you do to me. When you hold me in your arms so tight, you let me know everything's alright.
As you see, children love it. Listening rooms are part of workshops, and they are designed as mini concerts. And the duration of workshops and the listening rooms is around 45 minutes because of children's concentration.
The important thing to mention here is the social impact. So during this project, our goal is to ensure easy and equal access to knowledge for all the children. And also, by this project, students develop togetherness, synergy, creating an environment in which it is a great pleasure to teach and learn. Also, it is not less important to mention that the students of Music Academy in Zagreb participate in this project. Through this project, they start collaborating, gain performing experience, and develop pedagogical skills, as it is often in short supply.
The story was launched in 2021. The pilot project consisted of 3 workshops and 4 listening rooms. The response was great. We had around 300 participants and 40 educational institutions. This year, we are expanding internationally in a collaboration with Croatian embassies and their educational institutions. We are planning around 600 participants, and in the future we want to do our workshops on English so we can reach an international participants, and we are planning around 2,000 participants by 2024.
Since there is a lot of participants and a lot of us investing their time, knowledge and experience in this project, we found potential ways to monetize. And those are through funds of Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Education and Ministry of Foreign Affairs, also through sponsorships and income from other organizations' activities like management and organizing the concert. But for this project, for the education of children, we need more funds.
So we invite you to be a part of our success story and create a new shape of creative education. Thank you.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you, Mariangela. Thank you, Croatia. We're almost done with presenting the final project for the day. The one left, last but not least, from Hungary, Dominika Acz, Maria Valverde, and Veronika Potzner.
Since I was a child, I was always so enthusiastic and passionate about music and arts. I've loved to express myself through music. I felt that I'm a storyteller. There was one time in my life when I was always writing a diary. When the last page came, I was so much in pain that I just grabbed the tape, an ugly crayon, and I just took rounds and rounds, and I glued it. Our performance is called For Who Was Not Born. When I came up with this idea, with this title, I knew that I need to reopen it. I cut off all of the tapes, and I involved these 2 amazing musicians to tell this story, because we believe that through art and music we can get healed, and art and music can bring healing to the people and we believe that we can be reborn again and again. I am Dominika Ács, flutist, performer.
And I am Maria Valverde, I'm a pianist.
And my name is Veronika T. Potzner. I play the percussion instruments. We are female musicians from classical backgrounds.
And we are here to tell you our story of the project, For Who Was Not Born.
For Who Was Not Born comes from a personal story in the words of a very famous critic by Papageno, Alexandra Ivanov. It is a transcendental etude of its own. It is a musical performance based on a repertoire that is classical, with a dramaturgical line that has poetry, reading, involves acting, visual effects, movement, and we also indeed include the listeners as well. It is also a multicultural project. That means we talk 3 different languages whilst we play.
This performance contains music by Schubert, Bartók, and Falla. And this repertoire was really essential and the base of our creative process. For example, with Schubert, we could get closer to the emotional content of the initial idea that we had, the pain, the loss, but then the hope. And Bartók and Falla, on the other side, brought us closer because they show us our cultural approaches to the same topic. Moreover, we did some arrangements of pop, jazz, folk music. We improvised it, we did some medleys, and all of this with our basic instruments like marimba, flute, and piano, but also we included our voices, we were singing, even there was a bit of ukulele playing. There were a lot of other percussion instruments as cajon, bongos, or a drum set.
So we wanted to express ourselves through multi-art tools. For example, the visual effects with the dresses as well, the colors we used, and also there were the literature part with poems and with our own texts. So our goal was also to reach more people and to involve the society as well and to get closer them to our project. So we made a survey, how you can see it here. We had a Google form, and there the people could share anonymously their thoughts and their emotions about this. So we had 2 points with it. The first one is that we get a little bit out from the personal story. We saw the big picture of it, the emotional dramaturg line of this kind of stories. And the second one is to stand for those people who are voiceless.
And this led us to the why to do a performance like this one. We had several motives. The first of these reasons was to break with many prejudgments around classical music. Prejudgments that come from society, which find sometimes that they cannot connect with this kind of music because of the performing tradition or because of the absence of any kind of context. But also prejudgments from the musicians who sometimes feel that to connect with the music that they are performing or they are working on it, it's difficult, and it's difficult to find this personal, emotional, authentic connection with the music. We had also other motives, like to explore new ways of performing the classical repertoire and explore also new ways to express ourselves. And finally, the third of the reasons is because we want to make classical music relevant in society, and we truly believe in its potential. Its potential as representing people who cannot express themselves, its potential as a way of exploring topics that are of our day-by-day life, or might be polemical, or might be taboo even. And finally, on its potential as a beautiful communication tool, which is expressive, empathic, and full of emotion. Here there are some of the critics and feedbacks that we received, but we don't want to.
Yes, maybe we could read one just to stick with the time. The first one is from the famous photographer Zsófia Takács, and she wrote after the premiere, "I am under the influence of your performance ever since. My homage." And if you would consider or wonder about what's next, let me tell you our near future's plans. We are planning to perform abroad since the project is already pretty multicultural, involving the 3 languages that we already use, and we also would like to develop. Depending on which country or city we play in, we still have more languages that we speak, so we can add them. We would like to develop the performance by expanding our artistic tools in it, and of course nowadays, because of the importance creating media content to reach more people, also online, not only for the live performances. We plan to work on further other society matters, dig in deep for problems and open them through our performances. Last but not least, to inspire other musicians as well.
And here we prepared a short video, I hope it's going to work, about some fragments of our last performance.
Its voice is hot and wide, stayed, but never arrived, who was not born.
So that is, thank you so much for your attention.
Sorry, I don't know how to go back.
Thank you, Dominika. Thank you, Veronika. Thank you, Maria. So that's it. There was our 9 final projects. Now, before the jury wants to, will go to make some short, I've heard, decision. I'd love to thank everyone to being a part of it. And I want to say something to the people watching us over internet. Don't hesitate. Be a part of the change. Be a part of the future change of classical music world. You can look for JMI in your own country. You can look for the enCORE program within the JMI, within your own countries. And you can join here. You can be a part of this fantastic group and receive many opportunities to develop. Thank you very much. See you soon.
Just a short announcement, please. We'll continue in half an hour at 12. I mean, I don't know. It's 13:45 with the next session. So you'll have half an hour to just grab your food and bring with yourself. I really suggest just take outside and grab some sun before we continue in half an hour. Thank you so much.